Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. We're your guides through sordid tales of movies, music, and pop culture. Our show is best experienced under the influence of cannabis, so now is your cue to light up. Now remember, drugs are dangerous. Please use responsibly, but do subscribe. And now your James Thomas and David Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday night, and you are watching the Mile High Podcast. I am your host, Dave. James is taking some much-needed time off. Our hearts and thoughts are still with James and his family as they're dealing with their own stuff over there. So I'm taking the reins for the time being. And with me tonight, I have a couple of very special guests. I'm going to go to my left here on my screen, which is probably right in Facebook world. I'm going to start with our in-house resident cannabis expert, Kim Neubauer. How are you, Kim?
Hello. I'm doing real good.
Awesome. Funny story. Kim got real high last week, and she had some really interesting tales of what happened. Not only did she get so high that she forgot what her favorite movies were, but what else happened last week? This is on her own weed, might I add. So, this is a great advertisement for her own home-grown weed. So,
I wish I was smoking again tonight. I tried to spaghetti sauce, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just let it." I kind of forgot that I was cooking it, and when the show was over, it was a spaghetti sauce hockey puck. So I had to throw that out and eat Doritos.
That's some excellent fucking weed right there. So wonderful. Well, welcome back, Kim. I'm so happy that you're back with us. We really enjoy having you on the show. And then, of course, this next man needs no explanation, mostly because he's everywhere on the Truckee Pacific Networks, host of the Santore What Now, man. I'm going to get infected by James. Like, I know the name of your show. James fucks your show up all the time. I'm really great with it, but now I'm embracing James's persona. I fucked up the name of your show. The host of Santore What Now, Mr. Santore, how the hell are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, brother.
Thank you for having
me. Thanks, dude. It's been a hot minute since you've been on the show, so welcome back on.
Thank you.
Tonight is going to be a really fun show. We're talking about music that changed our lives. We're talking albums, songs, bands, even musicians that have made a huge influence on our lives. So that'll be a little bit later in the show. But as is customary here on the Mile High Podcast, let's talk to Santore. What have you been watching, Mr. Santore, and what have you been up to?
Actually, I just got done watching that COVID special at South Park on Paramount. And I have to say, those guys, Trey and Matt, just still, they kill it, man. They never seem to disappoint. And then I over the weekend I was watching a documentary of Henry Hill. If you guys ever remember Henry Goodfellas, well, it was a documentary pretty much. I was just interested in that. And so it's pretty much I've been watching in Office all the time, as you can tell.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on. What have you been up to? Like, I know Mary Beth is working now. Are you? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I got a job, and then all of a sudden they don't open until February. So now I'm on a job hunt to do part time until then. So I'm waiting it out, looking for a job in process. And number one, Dick, she's working part time, and of course she's going to start. And then January of the job that we got together. So, but yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
cool. Very cool. Kim, what have you been up to, and what have you been watching these days?
I watched something just for you. So
I'm so flattered.
Just for you. So I had something to talk about. I've actually been applying to grad school.
Nice.
It turns out that is a really cumbersome process, and 2 weeks is not enough time to do it, but I'm going to do it. And
I believe in you.
So I watched this thing called Chicago Party Ant, because I'm real into like adult cartoons. And so it's like on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, and it's all about this party ant from Chicago. And it's like all this typical Chicago stereotypes, and it's fantastic. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So sometimes when I talk tonight or any night, you'll hear my thick thick Midwest accent come out, and it's spot on. I love it. So it's raunchy too.
Yeah, you have a pretty thick cheesehead accent there for sure. So nice. What have you been up to besides how's the new job going?
The new job is great. Last week was a short week, so that was really good. So we talked on Monday night, and then I had one more day of work and learned about some tape libraries. So, if you know what that is, you're probably a nerd.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. No idea. Literally no idea. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? I completely forgot it was Thanksgiving last week. Yeah. What'd you do? You do anything fun?
I cooked.
Nice. Have you cooked Thanksgiving dinner before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Favorite.
I thought it was like, it's the first time I ever cooked it. And
no, I love
fucking
it.
set the turkey on fire. What about you, Santore? What'd you guys do?
I cooked, she cooked, and we had friends come over, and we hosted this year, and it was a success. So
nice.
A lot of leftovers. We planned the whole leftover scene. We got to go things for all the guests, and they got a lot of food. But it was good. It was success.
Yeah, nice. We have a bunch of people watching now. I want to say hi to Robert Roberts and Bonnie. Man, Bonnie, hello, Mom. She's out there. Make sure you guys are interacting with us tonight. Tell us about your Thanksgiving. Tell us what you're watching. Robert, what are you smoking tonight, bro? You're saying puff, puff, pass. But what are you smoking? And definitely later on in the show, I want you guys to, join the conversation. That's what makes this show is great. Is that you guys are joining the conversation. So thank you guys, everybody, for watching. My Thanksgiving was very strange. Just kind of a strange part of my life right now, but it was still nice. It's nice to be around my family. I don't really see my sister and her kids very often, so it was nice to talk with them and hang out with them. And now it's like, now Thanksgiving's done, it is straight on to Christmas. And so, now having to worry about like buying gifts for people again. And, it's a stressful time of year. I love Christmas. There's a lot of people out there that don't particularly like this time of year, but my kiddo and I, hardcore atheists that we are still all about Christmas. So I don't really care much about the whole religious aspect of it, but we are very much into Christmas. How about you guys? Are you guys into Christmas all that much?
I am. Number one, Dick is really all about Christmas for reasons. But no, what we did after the day after Black Friday, whatever, we didn't go shopping. We actually decorated and got the tree up because it was after Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, I think it's when you should be able to bust out the tunes, and that's just my seeing stuff before Thanksgiving. It really, really makes me sad. But yeah,
we put our tree up. My kiddo and I, we put our tree up last night, and that's actually late for us. I mean, we usually, like, if it's the first snowy weekend in October, that's when we do it. And that's kind of the nice thing to have an artificial tree. It's like, it's September, but it's a chilly day. It reminds me of Christmas. Let's put up the tree. So yeah, we just put it up. It's nice, and it's a little bit later than normal, but it is what it is.
Right.
So
I also put up my tree.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Is this the first year in your place?
The day before. Pardon?
Is this the first year in your place? Because you just moved to Colorado not that long ago, right?
No. So this is my second. This is actually my third Christmas here. So
right on.
2019, but I moved here in November. So I had Christmas right away, and then last Christmas, and so yep, third Christmas.
Nice. There's nothing like a Colorado Christmas. Like, I know Centauri, being in Minnesota, it's pretty close because you have a nice mountainy part of Minnesota, and it's chilly. But Colorado, I mean, like, there's just nothing like it in Colorado. The lights are gorgeous, and usually it's cold and snowy. The mountains are fantastic, and then the Christmas lights on the snow. Way snowier when I was growing up. Maybe that's just my memory, but definitely way snowier growing up versus now. It's like 72 degrees out here today. I mean, definitely the weather has changed in the last 30 something years for sure.
Yeah, it's like November 29th. We haven't seen snow yet, and it's like 60. It felt like it, but it was beautiful. I'm not mad. I'm like, ooh.
Definitely.
Like,
for sure.
But I am a little concerned.
Yeah. You can't help but be concerned. Like in Colorado, we set a record for the latest snowfall. Like I mean, still, it's fucking November. I mean, what day are we? Like November 29th? And we still haven't fucking had a recordable snowfall in Colorado. I mean, come on. I mean, there's like years where we had fucking blizzards in October and shit, and we still haven't had.
Last year it was September.
Yeah, last year was September. We put a Christmas tree up that day, oddly enough. I will say that. Let's see here. My mom says that my Brussels sprouts that I made on Thanksgiving were awesome. I 100% agree with that. My Brussels sprouts fucking killer. And Rob Robert's been watching Mysteries of the Abandoned on the Science Channel, and we're going to what I watched because I'm working. I don't really have an exciting life other than I work at a pot shop now, and that's pretty cool. But basically, I'm here. I see a million different things. Over the last couple weeks, I saw Encanto, which was fucking amazing. The music was by Lin-Manuel, and he gets back to his Latin roots. It's a great Disney movie. It's super colorful. The music is fantastic. It's perfect for kids. So all you stoners with little kids that are watching tonight, feel free to take your kids, bring a vape pen, hit it up in the bathroom, and then just enjoy the colors and the music. Encanto was very, very good. I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was also fucking great. The Ghostbusters was so good. I actually am one of like the 10 people that liked the female Ghostbusters a few years ago. This is so much better. I mean, this is better than Ghostbusters 2. I mean, it's like Ghostbusters 1, this one, and then Ghostbusters 2. I mean, this was a great, great movie. So definitely recommend going to see it and go and see it in the theater.
Is Bill Murray in it?
I'm not going to tell you fucking shit, bro. The movie's been out for a week, so if you want to spoil it, you can go spoil it, but I'm not spoiling shit. I just have to say that the last half hour of this fucking movie is like one of the best half hours of any movie I've ever seen. It was so fucking good. It's great. So definitely recommend Ghostbusters. But the movie that I saw that you 100% have got to go see and check it out is Last Night in Soho from Edgar Wright. But Bill Murray was not in that one. There's no spoilers in that one. Bill Murray not in Last Night in Soho, but it is so fucking good, dude. If it doesn't get nominated for a bunch of fucking awards, it'll be a travesty. As much as I love Edgar Wright movies, this is right up there with the best of the best. It was fantastic. It was a true horror movie. It was it had a crazy ending, a crazy left turn of an ending, everything that you want from a horror movie. It's in Last Night in Soho. And then, of course, on top of it, Edgar Wright is just brilliant with using music, and using this like 1960s pop music throughout this horror movie was just fucking great. So highly, highly, highly recommend Last Night in Soho. I cannot wait to go see that one again. But that's pretty much what I've been seeing. I watch a lot of shit, so I always take up like the longest time when it comes to stuff that we've been watching. Watching a lot of Guys Grocery Games. Who knew? That was a fun show. Lots of Guys Grocery Games lately. So definitely check that show out too. But we're talking music tonight, and everybody who is on this show has been touched by music in some way, and not like the fondled by your uncle in the closet kind of touch. I mean, like, we have heard songs and listened to albums and gone to concerts that has touched us to our very core. And I'm sure if you guys are watching tonight, you're tuning in, and you have that same kind of experience. There's just songs that have are theme songs to your life that have touched you at certain times of your life where you're just like, you needed a pick me up, and this song came out at the right time, and you still listen to it to this very day. Music is one of those things that it's like one of those most palpable emotional things that you can experience. I mean, music is just like, it's the thread of my life. And Santore, you're a musician, so you are right there with me. And tell me how music has influenced you guys. I want to start with Santore because, like I said, you're a musician. How has music influenced your life?
Well, I'd have to say it's been influential because of like when the era that I grew up in, there was people actually playing instruments like drums and guitars and vocals and whatever. And there was a young man named Eddie Van Halen that came out in '78, and he made me want to pick up the guitar, and that was my big influence right there. So that's how music like touched me as a musician. I was influenced by him and Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne. So yeah, those two guys, and of course Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. So yeah, I mean,
definitely.
that's the fact that they were talented, guitar players, and of course Clapton and Prince and all them. So just they're inspiring, and I found out that I had a gift, and I want to pursue it, and I'm lucky to have it, so might as well play with it. So, but those guys did influence me big time. Eddie Van Halen.
Absolutely. R.I.P. Eddie Van Halen. How about you, Kim? How has music influenced you?
Both my parents were super duper into music, so started me really young on the classics, all the ones that Mike listed, and then some. And I started going to concerts at a really young age. Living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there's a lot of live music, and when you're a teenager, that was kind of like the thing to go do. Was like go down to Summerfest, which is a 10-day music festival. That's what we went and did during the summers. You went and hung out down at the music festival for 10 days. And so that was kind of where it all started for me. And I've seen my favorite band like 110 times, like no joke. I'm not even kidding. They have a very Grateful Dead like following. And so music has been super influential as far as being social. The year without COVID and not having shows, I learned like that I have no social skills side of concerts. I was like, oh wow, and I know lots of people experience that, but I was just like, wow, I have no idea how to make friends outside of like talking to people at shows about music. And then when I try to, make friends outside of that, people, I go on about music. And I'm like, oh yeah, I really like music. And people are like, yeah, I like music. And I'm like, no, I really like music. And they're like, okay. Like,
calm down. You need to smoke the weed or something. So you made a really great point there, Kim. You got into music, and music is super important to your life because your parents got you into it. Santore, did you have someone like that influenced your love of music as well? Some family member or a friend or something?
Yeah. No, so we would ride in my parents' car when I was very young. My brother and I, who's 11 years older than I was, I was like 3 or 4, whatever. And I would listen to my parents' music, and they were listening to Roger Whittaker, Kenny Rogers, and Neil Diamond, and Bee Gees. And one day my brother was fed up with it because we'd go on vacation, and I would always, cheer on my parents' music because I didn't know better. And then he said one day, he took me into his room, and this is what we're going to do. You're going to listen to this. And he pulled out Van Halen, AC/DC, Back in Black, Led Zeppelin, Floor, Rush, 2112, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, from that point, as soon as I hit, heard Ain't Talking About Love by Van Halen, I was just hooked. It was just like, and then Back in Black, if anyone that's ever listened to AC/DC album, it's a good album. And so, yeah, so I was 5 years old, and the year was 78, just showed my age, but whatever. And and ever since 5, I've been in love with it. And so this is my brother.
I will 100% credit my folks with my love of music as well. It's so funny because we have very similar stories, dude, where it's like, we would go on these long vacations, and they would always pop in Fleetwood Mac's greatest hits and Eagles' greatest hits and Beatles and just like all these fucking great albums. And, I may not have really appreciated them at the time, but I appreciate them a lot more now that I'm really into music. And one thing I love to do is just like follow music to its very roots. So listening to bands today that, sound like Arcade Fire sounds like the Eagles. The Eagles sound like the Platters, even, going back all the way to jazz era, and just like following people's lineages, following people's likes and influences and stuff. I really enjoy doing that, and doing so now, like, it gave me, listening to the music that they played, like, really gave me a base in how much I love music these days. I think that at a certain point in my life, my musical knowledge and experience, like, kind of overcame what they originally had me listen to. But music is still super important to everybody in my family. Like, my mom fucking opened up for the Beach Boys, and her and my uncle have been playing weddings and gigs and bars and shit for many years. And music is just super influential. They like go over and jam out and shit. So music is, it's a lot of it is in the family. And the love of music is passed down through the family. Quick tangent. Mel from, of Truckee Pacific and Mile High Podcast, James's wife, she's exactly the same way. She's our music expert because she was in like a Partridge Family type band growing up, and her parents were fucking live music performers and exposed to all sorts of music. And all the people that are listening here, like on our show, they all had people in their family or something that really helped them expand their love of music as well. And speaking of our listeners, we have Rob Roberts, who said that Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin are amongst his most influential bands. My mom says the Beatles were hers, and my mom said that music is the thread of her life as well. When she was young, she was influenced at the beginning of FM radio. Talk about old of FM radio. Is there, when I was growing up, and I feel like I'm kind of hijacking the show, but I'm kind of on a roll right now, so bear with me. When I was younger, when I was in like high school, junior year, terrible. I was a real low point of my life there, and bullied mercilessly because I was the goofy fat kid, and I wasn't like terribly bright. I wasn't great at football. Like I wasn't really great at a lot of stuff, and I was weird and awkward and kind of alone. My two best friends, who oddly enough are DW and James, they're off doing their own thing. So I felt kind of pretty low at that point. And my sister introduced me to a band called 9 Inch Nails, and I fucking started listening and just absorbing everything from 9 Inch Nails. And right in that junior year, where I was feeling at my lowest point, they come out with a Downward Spiral. And Santore actually heard this story before, because him and I do a podcast called Our Favorite Albums, and the Downward Spiral is my favorite, most influential album. And I fully give it credit for the reason I'm still alive is because of this particular album. It told me that there is more than than myself that's out there. It was very nihilistic. It's very it's all about me, and nothing really matters. But just it was so popular that people were fucking glumming on to this album and loving this album. So there was like a lot of people think the same way that I do. So I'm really not alone, because I'm part of this group, and it kind of introduced me to this like small goth group that was in my school, and we went to a bunch of shows and stuff. So I kind of associated with like the goth crowd, and they were like they all thought the same way, and I was like, I am not alone. There are people that like the same shit that I do, that we can bond over. So like I'm not alone. I may be weird, but these people are also equally fucking weird. So I fully credit Downward Spiral with my still being alive to this day. So do you guys have any album, or is there a song or a band that just like you can credit with like it changed the trajectory of my life? Anything like that? How about you, Santore?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Van Halen, of course. Van Halen won because I was influenced by Eddie Van Halen to pick up a guitar. But when I was like 5 all the way up to 10, I got, I was listening to the radio, and they would play Pink Floyd. My brother had the Wall album, and when I was 10 years old, and like there was VCR, it was like very popular. You can go to the movie, to the video store and rent movies. And I was 10, so it's hard for me to like rent a movie that was rated R, and my parents wouldn't get it. But I was so obsessed with the concept album of Pink Floyd, The Wall, and I didn't know it was a concept album at the time. I was just a curious 10-year-old, because I knew there was something behind that album. I knew there was there was something going on. And then when the movie came out, and I was just like so intrigued that I became obsessed with it. I would talk to like older kids, about what is it about? And then finally I was able to get the movie, and I was 10 watching it, and I was so confused. But as I got older, I figure it out, and I still just that album is just the concept of what Pink Floyd did with that album, The Wall, The Dark Side of the Moon, and Wish You Were Here, making them concept albums. And it was just that art form. And I was like, okay, that's really, really genius. They actually tell a story. And it just, I don't know. And I don't think today's music has any concept at all. And I think that's what's kind of missing in today's music is soul, heart, and concept. I think people are just doing it because they feel like, you know, people buy anything because we're silly and give them a lot of money. And I think the talent is not there anymore, the art, and I think it's missing. So I think Pink Floyd The Wall for me is a great album because of the artistic and the concept and just the geniuses behind it. So
That's really good. Kim, tell me, about an album or an artist or a song that like it really meant so much to you that it changed the trajectory of your life, or it just like it encapsulated your life and changed you.
The album is Anchor Drops, and it's by a band called Humphreys McGee, which is like Humphreys, but no H, Humphreys McGee. And they're a band from Chicago-ish area, South Bend, Indiana, actually. And I started seeing them when I was 14. That's how I've seen them 100 some times. And they've been such a huge part of my life. I've been all over the country to see them. I've been to the Dominican to see them. And so, it's given me this desire to travel, this desire to meet people and network. And, I feel like I have friends all over the country after having seen them. So I don't play any instruments. I tried to play guitar and that didn't work out very well.
Me too.
But live music is it's such a huge pivotal part of my life. And so that album was my introduction to them. And so right around that time it was my first show. And then, I just months ago I saw them. So yeah, it's good.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Stuck with you. That, there was just, what was it about that, just listening to that first time or seeing that first show, like what really stuck out to you? Because there had been something that first night you're just like, I am hooked for the rest of my life.
I wasn't even actually that hooked the rest of my life. It was definitely the lyrics in that album. There's a bunch of songs that I really resonate with. One of them being Wallet's Worth. If you've never listened to Unfreeze McGee, you should definitely check them out. But then in 2013, I went to a 3-night event that they did, so a 3-night concert, and that's what they're kind of known for, is doing these multi-night runs. And I met such a great group of people, and it's just really changed the way that I interacted with other people, and just kind of set that trajectory. And then I started taking my dad to shows, and my dad was in a wheelchair, and so that was it. That turned into his favorite band. And so he didn't ever want to be in the disabled section. He wanted to be right up front on the rail. So every show, him and I just riding the rail together, through all these shows. And, he'd be sitting there playing the air guitar. And so, I can easily say that band, that album, and those, events really changed my life.
That's a great story. That's awesome, dude. And I will definitely be checking out Unfreeze McGee.
You should definitely. They have a whole range from chill, super jam bandy, or even jazz, all the way to very, very, very good metal. I love metal.
Oh, speed of metal. I can tell you the reason why I am a metalhead, that to this very day, and I will tell you, I used to be super into rap, and rap has been very influential. I told a story before where it was the Christmas of my 8th grade year, and I'm like, Mom, I really like rap. Can I get a couple of rap CDs for Christmas? And my mom knew nothing whatsoever about rap. And so she asked the guy at wherever place, it was Sam Goody or something like that. He's like, what are 2 really good rap albums? And then I opened up on Christmas Day, Will Smith and his the Summertime album, which was good, and the other one was Straight Outta Compton by NWA. 2 very different albums. If you guys have not heard them both, but NWA was super fucking influential. I still listen to them this day. It introduced me to Dr. Dre. It introduced me to Public Enemy, which Fear of a Black Planet is one of my most influential albums. So just something that simple. Like my mom didn't really know about rap, so here's a rap CD, and it was fucking great, and it was influential. I mean, NWA. Everybody who is alive. It could be a fucking 42-year-old lawyer on Wall Street or wherever lawyers do law stuff. And it's a 13-year-old African American kid. They fucking know NWA. They know Straight Outta Compton. They know Fuck the Police. So definitely very influential in its own right. But I was into rap. I fell asleep on my couch during summer vacation, and I woke up. The TV was on MTV, and when I woke up, all I heard was just like, dun, 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 and I looked at the TV, and it's fucking Metallica, and the instrumental part at the end of one, where they're just it's all black and it's black and white, and they're just fucking headbanging and just like the fastest, loudest music I've ever heard in my life, and I was like, I want to hear more of this. Give me more of this. And so my sister, who will not admit it to this day, was like super gothy and super into metal. And she's the reason why I listen to a lot of music too, especially the metal, especially the Depeche Modes and the Cure and shit. Like she's the one that introduced me to that. But she had this fucking CD. She had Injustice for All. And she's like, I don't listen to this anymore. Here's that. So I just listened to that Metallica CD over and over. I'm like, give me more. So introduced me to fucking all sorts of heavy metal bands, Megadeth, and even like Iron Maiden, going back to like Iron Maiden and Ozzy, and it just like from then on, it like Korn and System of a Down, and now it's like Lamb of God and Black Dahlia Murder. It is literally, I can trace it back to waking up that one day and watching the one instrumental part of that Metallica video. Do either of you guys have like a song that just like just fucking just turned you into a certain person, or like changed the music that you love, or introduce you to something, just like any kind of song like that? Kim, why don't you go first?
Okay. Not so much a song, but maybe an event. When I was a kid,
Yeah, vote for it. Yeah, absolutely.
You lived in certain areas of town, and you got the Box Music Network, and it was like inner city hip hop and rap. And I lived in an area of town where we did get that station. And one morning I woke up and it was no longer the Box; it was MTV2. And so MTV2 was all music videos, and there was Tool had, I don't know, like had just come out. So there was music videos for totally blank, like Stinkfist, I think, had a music video at that time or something like that. And that was just super like, whoa, like this is a real thing that happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of heard Tool at that time, but I had never really we didn't have cable, so I had never really seen music videos before. I would say I'm like 13 at this time. So that was just a really influential like thing. So similar to yours, like waking up to the music video, it was this MTV2 coming out, and they had, I think at the drive-in, One Arm Scissor was also a music video that came out around that time. And that whole album I listened to at least once a month.
I couldn't agree with you more. And what's really funny is that, MTV2 was created because MTV stopped playing music videos. And then all of a sudden, MTV2 stopped playing music videos. But that's where you found Liquid, what was it? Definitely Headbangers Ball was MTV2. That was great. And then they had that whole half hour of just like weird indie videos, like from Tool, and then they had like Aeon Flux, Liquid. I think it was like Liquid Metal or something like that. I couldn't remember what the hell it was, but MTV2 used to be super fucking cool, super indie. Played all the cool music that outsiders like us watched. I will tell you, one of the most influential shows at that time was fucking Beavis and Butthead, because they played like White Zombie and Gwar and shit, and like this is fucking rocks. Absolutely. So Beavis and Butthead, highly influential music influences. What about you, Santori? Tell me about a song or something like that just like really influenced you, like really changed the course of like what you like to listen to.
Eruption, Van Halen 1. Like when I heard that for the very first time, it was just explosive. It was just like, I never heard it. And like I said, he was such an inspiration, and just because of what he was doing. I had never, ever will ever come close to what he did, and ever, but it just that sound, that's what got me. And like before internet, there was things like called magazines. And like, so my brother had introduced me to, you know, rock and roll. And then I, of course, you know, as I got older, I experimented with other things like music wise. And, you know, I went to jazz, just checked that out, Miles Davis and all of that. And then I went to punk. But I had these magazines like back when I was like probably like 10 years old in 83. And they would like have pictures of, you know, concert footage of Eddie Van Halen and, you know, Motley Crue and all that. Like magazines were called Circus, Hit Parader, and Cream. Yeah. And they would like have a section of selling shirts. And then I would see these Metallica shirts, you know, that said Ride the Lightning, Metal Up Your Ass, Kill 'Em All. And I'm like, what's this Metallica about? So like in 83, I got Kill 'Em All. It was a cassette. And that was their first album. And I was just blown away because it was like fast. It was fast. And then I got Ride the Lightning. And then I got Masters. You know, I kept it with them. And then, you know, Cliff Burton unfortunately died and tragedy. And then when Injustice came out, it was a good album to come out with, you know, and I actually saw them when the album was coming out in 88 at Monsters of Rock, which was my first concert. It was 5 bands, Kingdom Come, Scorpions, Metallica and Dokken, and then of course Van Halen. So I got to see them do Harvest of Sorrow, which came off in Justice for All and Jason Newsted. And that was like my first concert. It was really good. But then Black came out and then it was over for me. And I've never liked them since. And I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me for that, but I don't care. And I just stuck with Slayer because they kept it. I mean, that was that's my favorite metal band of all time because of the fact that they never went to the other side. They weren't, you know, they're about their roots. And that's what I don't like about music today is people just lose track of their roots and their souls and then they just go different direction and they suck and their sound sucks. So that's my opinion about Metallica. But yeah, I liked them way back in the day. But they're still, you know, just Metallica.
That's Notorious hot take.
That's my opinion.
My mom said that something that musically changed her life was going to see Elton John.
Nice.
So yeah, totally your opinion. That's totally fine. Yeah.
Well, Elton John is prime is best. Like, you know.
She saw him in 1970, second row. No one was there but them. So imagine going to see fucking Elton John before he was Elton John. That's pretty cool. Robert Headbangers Ball. Yes, sir. Yes. Choppy, so hopefully I'm coming through okay.
You're good.
I told these guys before we even started the show, I'm like, it doesn't matter what I do with my internet, I will always fucking freeze up. It doesn't, like, I did everything I could possibly do to like have good internet tonight, and so far I haven't frozen up, but I'm getting the your internet is unstable message, so I will definitely freeze up here soon. So I've instructed Centauri has been instructed to take over the reins if I freeze up, so let's hope that does not happen.
Yeah.
Is there a song that is like a theme song to your life, Santori?
No, but I would like a song being played at my funeral though. If I ever, you know, when I do die, I do have.
Yeah. What is it?
Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. Yes, I'd like that to be played. And then after that, Celebration by Kool and the Gang. Just kidding. Simple Man.
Celebrate your death, Santori.
There it is. Fun at my funeral.
Santori, your funeral will be very fun.
But no, Leonard Skinner, Simple Man, because, you know, all I really want to do is just keep life simple, even though it has its curveballs. Just keep looking forward.
Absolutely. Your funeral will be very fun. There will be a few tears and lots of laughs at your funeral. So
I don't want tears. I want laughter.
Yeah, and hopefully you die in like a really funny, cool way, like a Centauri type way. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Centauri went out to the ocean and got eaten by a shark.
You know, yeah, it'd probably be like some silly. You know, we all thought that, like, you know, Steve would die of the, you know, the alligator rescue, probably get eaten by an alligator and die by a steam rape. Like, seriously?
Like Centauri, Minnesota man eaten by largest python ever recorded in Florida. Exactly. So you got to die like a weird Centauri type way. Kim, is there a song that's a theme song to your life?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, I don't really think about that. I might come back to that later in the show. But I do have a Metallica story that I want to share.
Yeah,
I was like a super dork. No, still a super dork, but I was a super dork too at age like 12. And so, I was like into Savage Garden and NSYNC, and the kids on the bus, they were so cool. And I was like, can you tell me what album that I should go listen to? And they're like, yeah, listen to Garage Inc. by Metallica and listen to Ozzy, the Ozman Comet. And so like the first song that I listened to on Garage Inc. was So What. And so like honestly, now that I'm like thinking about it, so that song was like super influential because like I definitely was like, I'm gonna go to Hot Topic now. And with age 12, like that's how you rebel. You're like, I'm gonna go get clothes at Hot Topic. But thinking of like
it was cool.
I haven't thought about that song in a really long time. Maybe that is the anthem to my life.
There you go. See, you came around to it eventually.
There you go.
Yeah. There are just like some songs that have like at the certain time in my life, it just like the song came out exactly as I was like, I was feeling a certain way, and the song just like came out, and it was like the perfect song at the perfect time. The original song was the song by Godsmack that I'm doing the best I ever did. And like at that time, I was like, I dropped a bunch of weight for college. I was making great grades and shit. And I was like, just like one of those songs that's like a middle finger to a bunch of people that like didn't think I was going to do anything. So that was great. But then I heard this Hatebreed song called I Will Be Heard. And I will definitely play, I'll share it to the page afterwards. But talk about, it's about perseverance and pushing through. And, there's going to be people along the way that won't believe in you, that won't think that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And you're struggling to find a voice. And at that time I was struggling with life in general. And that's one of those things that's like, I was like, absolutely, I'll be heard. I have a voice. And that's one, I can kind of say where I listened to that song, and now I'm hosting a fucking podcast. I'm, writing books and putting out books and shit. Like I will be heard. Like I need to have my voice heard. I shouldn't be, sitting silent and all by myself, So I will definitely say my theme song is I'll Be Heard by Hatebreed. Fucking great song if you haven't heard it. So, give me, we're kind of getting out of time here. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth here just real quick. Just tell me like the albums, Santore, I'll start with you because you fucking can rattle off albums like no one's business. Give me like a couple albums that just like are your favorite albums that have influenced your life in the most.
Oh, there's a bunch, but I'm going to go ahead. Van Halen 1, Pink Floyd, The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Led Zeppelin 3, it's a great album. I love to go to that whenever I get a chance. Physical Graffiti, it was a great one by Led Zeppelin. AC/DC, Back in Black, definitely. And Rush, 2112, I would have to say are good influences. And those are my go-tos all the time whenever whatever. And then sometimes I'll go into like Pearl Jam 10. I like Pearl Jam 10. I think that's a good album when that came out. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. And I have to say Fugazi, 13 songs. Those are my favorite.
Pulling out the Fugazi. That's why I went with you, Santore, because you could pull out the Fugazi. Yeah, the Fugazi is fucking great.
That's what I'm saying.
Love some Fugazi. How about you? Give me some of your most influential albums there, Kim.
So also Physical Graffiti, like that whole album is really good. I'm a Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Side, like I love all the Syd Barrett weird shit. That's my jam. Relationship of Command is that At the Drive-In album that I mentioned earlier. A bunch of Humphreys McGee albums that nobody's ever heard of except me. So there's that. Talking Heads, their older albums. I'm really into some of the older Talking Heads stuff. The Fleetwood Mac album, Rumors, obviously is just one of my jams. Thinking of all the albums. Oh, so Marcy Playground. That Andy song, like that song is not that good, but that whole album is like really good, and like that is on my constant rotation. There's also this other band called 9 Days, and they had that really terrible song that was absolutely Story of a Girl. You remember, like, this is the story of a girl who can revenge the whole world. Yeah, well, that song is like not that good, but the rest of that album's like, I really enjoyed that album, and so that is also one of my strange on rotation albums. So
very nice, very fun. Let's go. Let's see. My mom says Dark Side of the Moon is her number one album of all time. She's sang a lot in her band, but very hard lyrics to memorize. That's pretty much Pink Floyd. It's hard to memorize their shit. It's very complex. Rob Roberts saying Bark at the Moon. My homegirl Sasha, what's up, Sasha? She is saying Soundgarden, love Soundgarden. Rob Roberts also saying White Album. All great albums. Like I said, Downward Spiral is by far the most influential album in my life. Hurt's the most influential song of my life, and Nine Inch Nails is the most influential. So Nine Inch Nails there's no more influential band in my life than them. But a band that I didn't really pay much attention to until just recently has had like a huge impact on my life. It's introduced me to a lot of bands that are similar to them that came out around the same time as them. So it introduced me to not only a new genre of music, but also like reintroduced me to a band that I kind of just passed, and it's Closer by Joy Division. Joy Division, I didn't really pay much attention to. Like, I heard them, and everybody knows, love will tear us up. But then I listened to a podcast on Joy Division, and it was fascinating. So I went back, and then, they have 2 albums, and their most popular songs are not even on their albums. But Closer is such a fucking great album. And not only that, it introduced you to a whole new genre of music. Like, I'm listening to the Dead Kennedys again. I'm listening to, early New Order, which I, up until like a year ago, had no idea New Order, it was Joy Division.
That's great.
Yeah, fucking weird. But just like, so I've only like really been reintroduced this album about a year ago, and it's so good and it's so incredible that I'm just like, I'm going back and just like listening to everything around it and introducing a whole bunch of new bands. Fugazi, oddly enough, is one of the bands that you listen to Joy Division radio on Spotify, and it's like Fugazi. It's the fucking, I Will Wait song. And everybody, all I have to say is that I will wait. And everybody knows that fucking part of that Fugazi song. So Joy Division, definitely right up there. Few albums as influential as Nevermind by Nirvana. I'm so shocked that we didn't really say it. I mean, that cut the line between hair metal and then like the metal that I listen to today was all because Nevermind came out and it fucking blew up the world. So gotta say that. Far Beyond Driven was by Pantera, super influential because so Metallica was like the heaviest metal I really listened to, and then I listened to Pantera and listened to that video or that album, and it's like I love this super heavy. This fucking guitarist is incredible. They're fast. They're aggressive. Like the lyrics are fucking metal as shit. So that, a step up from there is like Lamb of God and the shit that I listened to today, directly from Pantera. Like I said, Fear of a Black Planet by Public Enemy, just from it's one of the few albums where there's no bad song. It's, from the very beginning to the very end. And it's full of rage and anger, and it's so well done. And it's like, this is the shit that we are going through. This is the shit that my community, my people are going through. And when you're a 13, 14-year-old white kid from Colorado, you're like, you have no exposure to what's going on in the world and how, how this whole community of people is just being shit on like time and time again. So super influential, Fear of a Black Planet. And then Mare de Gnome by Perfect Circle. Just like,
I was gonna mention that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. I like you, Kim. I love Tool. When Santore and I literally bonded over Tool that we had never met before. And I the first thing I said to him was like, "You look like Maynard from Tool," and we have been in love ever since. So,
nice.
Hearing them do something completely different in Mare de Gnome, and it was like, like I said, I was part of the goth crew at that time, and it was just like in the next progression of that goth kind of culture that I was really embracing at that time. So and has a bunch of great songs on it. Judith was great, and then one of my most influential songs is Three Libras, because I was friend zoned hard by this girl in our neighborhood, and I was looking really slim. I was like, had made good money and shit, but like I got friend zoned like a motherfucker when I was a kid, and so that song came out at the right time. It was like totally this song. This is totally a friend zone type of song. So let's see some of these other albums here. We got a bunch of people watching now. So hello everybody. Let's see. Nobody else is just saying. They're saying, we were kids growing up. Yes. Let's talk about just
what about that Lucifer album, Conditions of My Parole, since we're going to talk about Maynard.
Okay. There you go.
Yes.
That album was so strange and good.
Very strange.
I'm a really big Maynard Project fan.
I
also makes great wine too. Maynard can do no wrong.
I actually went and saw Lucifer in concert in Florida when I lived there, and it was more intimate than a Tool concert. It was so much different, and it was great. If they ever go on tour, I recommend that everyone go see them. If they ever tour,
agree.
They were great. It was a great experience. You felt like Maynard was so like intimate with the crowd, and the setup of the stage. It was just, you felt like, he had scenery, like it was desert music, and you felt like you're in the desert. And it was just, it's an experience. I recommend everyone go see it if they ever come back.
Yeah, there's very few performers that I can say like you've got to go see. Maynard, you've got to go see Maynard in either Tool or Perfect Circle or Pussifer, for the simple fact that, first of all, you don't really get to ever see Maynard, but he's such a fucking brilliant singer, and he's such a good performer, even though like you hardly ever see him. When I saw him at Red Rocks with Perfect Circle, he was behind a tree the whole time. He sang behind a tree. And when I saw him with Tool, he was behind the drummer on a podium behind the drummer, and he's wearing a black outfit, so you don't see him the whole time. The only time you see him is when the black lights go on, and there's this dude kind of like fucking writhing in the back, and like that's Maynard. You actually get to see him. The other time I saw Maynard, he had this like long black hair, and he sang like the microphone was in his hair the whole time, and you don't fucking see his face. And then at the very last note of Judith, when he hits his like long fucking note, he pulls his hair off, and he's bald the whole fucking time. And so he's a weird dude. He's so talented, and he's such a performer that he's one of the few dudes that you've got to go and see for sure. So
nice. He's a genius.
He is a genius.
So Mike's right. Like when you see Lucifer, it's different. Like he is more.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was dressed as the Pope, and he was giving communion when I saw Lucifer. And so it's like he wasn't really interacting with the crowd still. He just pretty much pretended we don't exist. But to see him have any kind of interaction with the actual stage itself was kind of cool.
And the reason why he stands behind the drummer is because of the sound. It's for his vocals, so he can hear himself a lot better when he's behind the drums. It's really smart. He can hear himself a lot better when he's like not in front of the drums for some reason, but when you're behind the drums, you can hear something different. But I don't know. That's why he does that, from what I heard. Which is smart.
There's a lot of different things. He says a lot of different things. So I've heard the behind the drums thing. He also doesn't want to like take away from the art that he's doing. Like he doesn't want to take away from it. Like I don't know. There's a million different reasons. He's a weird dude, and he's a genius. Geniuses tend to be weird dudes, and that's his thing. And still doesn't take away from how great the performances are.
Oh no. Great.
This is a really fun comment from my dad, because my dad doesn't normally comment on here, but this is a particularly fun one. So when I was growing up, I was like high school-ish. My parents they got hardcore into new age music. I mean, we were like going up to Boulder and going into like new age shops and shit. They had like, love potions for sale and stuff. And we'd always get these like new age CD. It's like, whales and flutes and pan flutes and shit. So my dad like really started listening to this radio program on Sundays called Musical Star Streams. And he was hardcore into this musical Star Streams. He would record it on cassette, because we had to record on cassettes at this time. And then they would just like play it. And it was like very relaxing music. And everybody knows my parents are stoners, so they were fucking smoking a lot of weed, listening to musical star streams, and it was a very peaceful, relaxing, but very odd type of time in my house. And so my dad actually came on, and let me read this full comment. It's like, give your listeners a gift. Steer them towards musical star streams now on the internet. If you smoke weed or do chemicals, not knowing about musical star streams on the radio is like not knowing about American Bandstand or Soul Train. A sampling of some musical star streams programs are on YouTube. It has ambient, space, music, classical, all kinds of music that go beyond current forms of rock. The program has been on nationally for over 35 years. Expand your mind. Talk about music that changed me. I remember that first song I ever heard on the program in the late 80s, Dancing Flames by Manhattan Steamroller. That was 35 years ago. Talk about an impression. Absolutely. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, and it doesn't need to be the Beatles. It could be something as simple as listening to a new age album, and like it completely changes like who you are, what you listen to, what you get into and stuff. So I really like that comment. Like I actually enjoyed that music. I still listen to some of their bands that they were listening to. I still listen today. It's very peaceful.
I've seen Mannheim Steamroller, and I completely forgot that I even had that experience until you mentioned that. So thanks.
Yeah.
I was like 12, and it was weird space music.
It was weird space music.
Like an orchestra.
Very, very interesting. All right, very enjoyable. Santore.
Vangelis, New Age. I listen to Vangelis. If you ever get a chance, check out Vangelis. It's very, very New Age.
Very, yeah.
Oh,
New Age, highly over or underrated. I mean,
it's underrated.
Yeah, it's very underrated. Yeah, I'd say so.
Take your moments, though. I mean, you can't like be driving a car listening to Vangelis or New Age. You'll crash. We'll put you
falling asleep.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. But definitely, if we do smoke a lot of weed on the Mile High podcast, we do, plenty of mushrooms, except for Centauri. No more mushrooms for Centauri. But totally like fucking throw on some new age music and just let the psilocybin just wash over you and enjoy life at that time. Anything else you guys want to add? Any other bands or any kind of weird songs or something that we should listen to before we head out of here, Kim?
Put me on the spot.
I did.
All right. Dax Riggs. He was in a metal band called Acid Bath back in the 90s, and he's done a couple other projects, but like his solo stuff is called Dax Riggs. That's his name as well, like Dax, D-A-X. It's super good, bluesy, like soulful New Orleans rock. It's not metal, but if you're into metal, check out Acid Bath. That's really good.
Definitely. All right, Santore, give me an album or a band or a song that just like people have got to listen to. It could be new music, old music, but something that you love that people need to listen to.
They need to listen to Tool. They need to listen to Slayer, Zeppelin, Floyd, Van Halen, AC/DC, Vangelis, Fugazi, Minor Threat, New York Dolls.
Good. Man, that's why I love you, dude. You can fucking pull out shit like Fugazi and New York Dolls. I mean,
definitely listen.
Well done.
Listen to Slayer. Do yourself a favor and listen to Slayer.
Yes.
Especially if you want to go to.
In this Christmas season, why not celebrate the holiest of holidays with Slayer? Do yourself a favor. Listen to Slayer. Quote Mike Santore.
Yep, that and Rain and Blood.
There you go. Everybody. My parents know Rain and Blood. I mean, that's how fucking popular that song is, man.
Because it's a great song.
It's a great fucking song. Do yourselves a favor, guys. Go back and listen to all of Joy Division's catalog. Listen to The Damned. That's a fucking punk band that not a lot of people listen to. Great fucking band. Revisit the Ramones, man. They're even better than you originally thought. Go back and listen to some of that old Metallica. Listen to Cowboys from Hell. Listen to fucking Head Like a Hole. Pretty Hate Machine. Go back and listen to the old stuff, man. So many times I get stuck in listening to the shit that I'm into today, like, Arcade Fire and the Monsters and Men and stuff, that you kind of forget how good music was back in the day. So like go back and just like listen to some of those old songs, David Bowie, man. Pre fucking 1980s David Bowie.
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. There you go. Stevie Ray Vaughan, man. Marshall Tucker. Fuck, go back to fucking listen to doo-wop. Listen to some Buddy Holly for fuck's sake. Listen to like it's the Platters and listen to Supremes. Listen to Motown. Just go back and just Billie Holiday. I'm such a Billie Holiday fan. Like, go back and just listen to some of that stuff, man. It'll change your day. It'll make your day even better. My mom can sympathize with you, Mr. Santore. My mom is no longer able to take mushrooms, so she is with you all the way on that. That's pretty much it. What we have tonight. Kim, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your art show?
Oh yes, it's getting close. So this January at Ampersand Coffee in Boulder, I'm going to do an artist residence there. I'm going to hang some of my paintings, so you can go check them out. I'm going to have prints, not prints like the artist, but print, so like this, like a print of my art, and you can buy it. And I'm going to figure out how to sell them online. I think I don't really know how this works, but Ampersand Coffee in Boulder, go get some coffee and go look at my art the whole month of January.
Very cool. We'll definitely be up there. We got to support our own, so definitely go up to Ampersand Coffee in January. Mr. Santore, I know you have something to hawk.
What now on Wednesday nights here on Truckee Pacific. You can catch me and Dr. Detroit and T-Man and talk about what now. And in the future, there will be some comedy shows with video that I will show later when I get back up on stage. For right now, Wednesday nights, What Now with Santore.
And if you guys have not checked out Santore What Now, definitely check it out. It's very, very funny. And it's the holiday season, so I have been hawking Caldera for a good time now. So I'm going to go back to my holiday book. Make sure that you go on to Amazon or on Audible and get A Christmas Roast. It's a really fun holiday horror story. It's written as a cheesy Hallmark Christmas movie with a really fucked up ending. So I highly recommend doing that. I love the audiobook version of it. So go to Audible and get it. It's pretty cheap. And if you have a credit, it's worth a credit for sure. So definitely do that. Next week begins our holiday series here on Mile High Podcast. I'm trying to wrangle up Mr. David Bondarchuk, who famously hated Christmas, came on a Christmas program to talk about how great Christmas is, and then told me halfway how much he fucking hates Christmas. So we're going to have a holiday debate show either next week or the week after, but expect Chef David to come on and talk about how much he hates Christmas. Santore was there. Santore was like, began his relationship with Mary Beth, and they're in love, and we're on this great holiday show. And then David's just like, I hate Christmas. And then he fucking left. he just like left the podcast. And so we love Chef David. He's fucking amazing.
He is great.
But he hates Christmas. And so he's going to come on and debate Christmas with us. Talk about our favorite Christmas movies. We're going to talk about our favorite Christmas songs and what the best era of Christmas songs is. So, definitely pay attention. Make sure you're checking out Mile High Podcast. You can go to our Facebook page, Mile High Podcast. If you can't find it, then, all hope is lost for you, basically. If you want to throw a couple bucks our way, please go to our Venmo at Chucky Pacific 303. I would love to get paid for all this quality entertainment that we are providing you on these Monday nights. So that's about it. Any last words, Mr. Santore?
Everyone be good to each other.
Man, I love that. I end my shows giving you full credit. Santore, he has the, be good to each other, guys. It's a fucking holiday season. Everybody's short staffed, and so it's going to be busy, and a lot of these places just don't have enough people. So fucking be kind to them, be generous, tip them, tip your fucking servers, tip your bud tenders. But just be good to each other. So thanks, guys. Have a good night, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.